You think your personality is yours? It isn't. You assembled it from strangers online and called it identity. A worldview from YouTube, an opinion from Twitter, a sense of humor from memes, an aesthetic from people you'll never meet. And the scariest part? You did it without noticing. Because modern identity theft doesn't look like something being taken from you. It looks like self-expression. And history already gave us one man who understood this before the internet existed. Who built an entire empire on it, and quietly disappeared inside it. Andy Warhol understood something most people never do. Identity is not discovered, it's manufactured. He built one of the most recognizable personalities in the 20th century. The silver wig, the flat affect, the deadpan delivery, the obsession with fame, surface, and image. But none of it was accidental. Warhol constructed himself deliberately. Every element chosen, every response calculated, every public moment performed. He even said it himself. If you want to know all about Andy Warhol, just look at the surface. There's nothing behind it. Most people thought that was ironic. It wasn't. It was a warning, because Warhol saw what was coming. A world where performance replaces personality, where surface becomes identity, where everyone manufactures themselves and calls it authenticity. He didn't predict social media, he invented the psychology behind it, decades early. In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. He said that in 1968. He was wrong about one thing. It's not 15 minutes anymore, it's every day. But look at what happened inside the factory. Warhol surrounded himself with people performing versions of themselves. Everyone was a character. Everyone was a brand. Everyone was curating an identity for an audience. And slowly, the performance consumed the person. Several factory regulars collapsed, not from failure, from the weight of maintaining a constructed self that had no internal foundation. And Warhol himself, despite being the most visible person in every room, remained one of the most unknown. People who spent years with him said they never really knew him because there was no unperformed version left. He built the perfect identity and lost himself inside it. Now look at what the internet did to everyone else. Algorithms don't just recommend content anymore, they recommend identities, who to admire, how to speak, what to desire, what to fear, what kind of person you should become. And because the process feels voluntary, people mistake conditioning for individuality. That's why millions of people now dress differently, while somehow becoming identical. Same phrases, same opinions, same humor, same emotional reactions. You can predict someone's entire belief system from the way they edit their Instagram stories. That should disturb you more than it does, because what changed wasn't that people became fake. What changed was that real people learned how to perform authenticity. Vulnerability became branding. Trauma became identity. Healing became aesthetic. And eventually, people stopped asking whether they were actually growing. They started asking whether growth looked convincing. That's not self-expression, that's self-management. You stopped asking, who am I, and started asking which version gets accepted. That's why so many people feel fragmented despite constant self-analysis, not because they lack information, because they contain too much of other people, a little stoicism, a little therapy language, a little nihilism, a little spirituality, a little irony. Not enough to become anything deeply, just enough to signal identity. There's still a difference between influence and possession. You are shaped by environments. Everyone is. That's unavoidable. The danger begins when you stop noticing it, when your opinions arrive instantly, when your desires feel inherited, when your emotions come pre-formatted, when your identity becomes entirely reactive. Real individuality is probably much quieter than modern culture suggests. Less performative, less optimized, less visible. It requires stepping away long enough to hear thoughts that weren't handed to you. Warhol built a machine that showed us exactly what we were becoming. He just couldn't stop the machine, because he was inside it too. The internet didn't destroy personality, it just made it very easy to borrow someone else's. Most people will spend their entire lives defending personalities they never consciously built.